Hey everybody. Whoa, okay. Hey everybody on the square. Andrew Marston here with another Community Spotlight interview, which is just a series that I'm doing so that we all get to know each other a little bit better, put a face to a name. And today we are joined by the one and only Erika Dillon. Erika, thank you for making time today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
I remember, so we met in person at Dash Bash, which was awesome, and so I feel like I kind of already know you. But just to dive right in, oh wait, no, on my notes, I don't know why. Literally every single time I do these, I skip this step. But where can people find your work online?
So they can find my work on my website at ericadillon.com. And also on Instagram, I have a lot of my work. So my Instagram handle is erica.dillon. And definitely look at the spelling because a lot of people spell my name with a C or they spell Dillon very interestingly. Dillon like Matt Dillon.
Like that? Any relation?
No, I
Oh,
wish, but
jeez.
no such luck.
There goes those premiere tickets I was counting on. uh, Somebody clever would make a nice segue, but let's just dive into who you are. Could you tell us kind of your background and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I am currently a full-time freelance motion designer, which is super duper fun. I sound like such a nerd by saying super duper, but whatever. And prior to this, so I've actually only been freelancing as a motion designer full time since May of this past year, which is definitely crazy. Prior to that, I am a graphic designer and packaging designer. So I had spent basically the past 15 years working within the design industry. And most recently, I was working for a toy company doing toy and game packaging, which is fun and also insane.
Any products that people might recognize that you had a hand in their packaging?
A few. So I have done, what did I work on? I worked on some Monopoly packages.
Ooh,
Um,
I've heard of Monopoly.
yep, you may have heard of it. What else have I done? I've done some stuff for Hungry Hippos,
Mm, that was a
another
favorite of
one.
mine.
Yep.
Yep.
I may have had a hand. It will be coming out, but just keep an eye out for like Mousetrap.
Oh, okay. And so you're in Vermont, right?
Yes, Andrew,
Oh,
I'm in
great.
Vermont. Wait, no.
So at Dash Bash, I don't know. I think it's because you go to Vermont for mountain biking. At
Yeah.
Dash Bash, for everybody who's like, why are they laughing about Vermont? It's because I got it stuck in my brain that she was from Vermont, even though she's in Rhode Island, and like totally embarrassed myself by like, oh, so what's
No.
Vermont like? Did you grow up there? And it became like a running joke. No, so you're in Rhode Island.
Yes.
Yes. Can
Yep.
you give us the your life story, birth to now? I want every detail.
Oh
Um,
man.
no, but can you
That-
tell us? Did you grow up in Vermont? I mean, oh my gosh.
See, that just goes to show like I am going to be living in Vermont at some point in my life because like Vermont.
Yeah. No. Did you grow up? Did you grow up in Rhode Island?
I did. So I currently I live in Providence and I grew up about 20 minutes north of here. So like Rhode Island's not big at all. So Providence is like, our city. It's our city center. And I grew up in, I guess, what you would call a more rural area, but like not really because it still has a Target. And like there was a movie theater. I think it became like a Planet Fitness.
Hmm,
So I don't know.
sounds about
But,
right.
it was like rural for kind of Rhode Island.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what led you to the commercial art field?
So I knew as a kid that I wanted to do some type of art. I actually thought when I was really young, and The Lion King was like my favorite movie ever. So basically, at that time of my life, I was like, I'm going to be an animator for Disney.
Hmm.
And I don't know when along that track, like things changed. But at some point, I was also like, okay, I really like album artwork, and I would always like go through magazines and look at ads, and like I love type, all of that. And then I was just sort of like, oh, I think graphic design is a thing. So I'm one of those people who knew what graphic design was. I don't know how.
Mm.
And I was basically like, that's what I want to do. So, through high school, I was taking classes at RISD because RISD is right here. They offer like continuing ed and like classes for teens, which was awesome.
Did you say continuing debt? Because I'm pretty sure they offer that.
Well, they do offer that. No,
Yeah.
continuing education.
Oh, okay. It's both. You can get both at the
It
same
is.
time.
It is. Um,
So you're taking
so
RISD courses in high school?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
just like their teen classes. Like I know I did a graphic design class. I think I did a fashion design class because I was like, I'm also interested in that. And then ultimately, I just sort of stuck down the graphic design route, went to Rhode Island College, which I now like live within walking distance of. And yeah, got my degree there and then just jumped into the world of design. Like, I was basically like, when can I start working?
Did you jump right? What was your first job? Your first design job right out of university?
My first design job, I worked as an advertising designer for a local magazine. That was interesting because that showed me like right away, like, oh, you don't actually have months to work on something. Like, you have to get it done basically tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And also with advertising design, like specifically, it's like, it's a free publication. So like all the ads that like support the publication, like you were at the people who are buying ad space, you were at their whims,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So I made a lot of really ugly and terrible design when I first started.
Commercial art at its finest.
Yes.
And then, so after, can you walk us through the path after the magazine job? Did you go straight to the toy company or?
So I have a very interesting path.
Oh,
So
perfect.
I did go straight to the toy company, but I went in as a contractor. And so I was only there, I think, for about 10 months. And then I bounced around a lot. So I worked for CVS corporate because they're based in Woonsocket, Rhode Island. So I did a stint there. I actually, a little bit of like random trivia. I worked for a hot dog company. I
Mm-hmm.
did their food labels. So if you've ever heard of KM or Fenway Franks,
Oh, Fenway
worked,
Franks.
yeah, I've worked on that. So, which is like really, that's a really bizarre part of my past. And then like I did sort of the contract thing for a little bit. I also worked at Apple at the same time
Ooh.
as a sales associate.
Yeah.
And then before going back to Hasbro, because I sort of, okay, so that was the company I worked for, right?
Okay.
Um,
If you want, I can edit that out. I don't know.
I think it's fine. People
Okay.
can know that I worked at Hasbro.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So before going back there, I had always sort of bopped around. Like I would go in for a contract and then pop out.
Mhm.
I did work at Moo, so the business card
Right.
company or business stationery company. I worked there for a couple of years and then finally made my way back to Hasbro and was there for like the past 5 years.
Actually, I think you recommended moo.com for me because I needed business cards that I handed like 5 of the 200 I ordered out at Dash Bash. And they're like really thick. Like
Yes.
if I get into close combat situation, I've
Oh,
got my
you're
business
set.
cards. Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you do at Moo?
So I worked in the business to business department. And what we did is we set up basically mid to large size enterprise companies with the capability for them to go in and order their own branded business cards. So rather than like going through the whole like, oh, we have this new person coming in, we have to like build a whole new like design and send it off to the printer. we would essentially either design something for them or they'd send us an existing business card and we'd rebuild it and then set it up in our online system so that they can just go online and basically input their information and be done.
Okay, that makes sense. So,
Yeah.
like Joe Schmoes like me, we design it and we print our couple hundred, but then the larger companies they get the
Yep.
premium treatment. Okay, so
Exactly.
I need to become a larger company so that I spend less time designing my own business cards.
Exactly.
Yeah, makes sense. Um, so, how did you? What was your experience at Hasbro? Because you transitioned out of that to be your own boss.
Yep.
Um, did you like? Yeah, tell me about working at Hasbro.
Yeah, so and also like all along, like throughout this entire journey that I've been on with my career, I've always wanted to be my own boss. So, and it was just sort of like never the right time to do it. Um, so anyway, working at Hasbro it was really great, but then it was also like there's just a lot of red tape and things change quickly. I mean, it's your typical corporate environment. And some people like absolutely love it. And like I know plenty of people who still work there who I think will work there until like the day they die. And and I like am actually like I admire those people because I'm like I really wish I had that to be like I'm so devoted to this that like I just want to be in it all the time.
Monopoly.
Uh
Yeah.
yeah, right, right. But what I found was I was having a more and more of a challenge when we would like come up with these really awesome ideas. Like, I don't know how many wonderful, amazing ideas we would come up with and basically take all the way through to the very end to then have either, the financials not work out. So then, like, you have to kill a project, which
Oh,
that is always awful. You're like, oh, we
yeah.
just spent 6 months on this thing. Or what is it? The straw that broke the camel's back was I had come up with this like really beautiful vision for a game and like worked really closely with this amazing illustrator and it was so beautiful and amazing and just like I was just so happy with it. And basically like we thought we had buy-in from our buyer and then the buyer like we had the final presentation and they were like, no, this isn't it at all, you need to change it.
Oh my
And it was
gosh.
like basically all of that hard work like, and this is the other thing, like it will never see the light of day. And it's like I have it for my own self because I was
Yeah.
like I'm so proud of this, but that was like really really hard and I was like I can't keep doing this, like it's so hard to put in all of that energy to like make something so awesome and amazing and then to basically be told like, oh no, this isn't it.
In like 30 seconds or less, months
Yeah.
of work and
Yeah, just like
like
gone.
emotional investment. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. Oh, it makes complete sense. I think a lot of people on the square and who take school motion courses are trying to become Erika Dillon or their own boss. Could you give us some insight into the process of actually transitioning to be your own boss? Some of
Yeah.
the difficulties, or maybe it was just smooth sailing. I don't know.
So it took, I will say it took a lot longer than I thought it would to make the transition. So I sort of knew, I don't know, I want to say it had to, I think like at least a year before I made my like final move. And prior to that, like I had already been like sort of looking at it anyway. Um, but what really helped and is still currently helping is I set myself up with a bit of a runway.
Mhm.
So I looked at all of my finances. I looked at, okay, like how, like if I were not to get work for say like 6 months, like how much money do I need to have in the bank to just sort of like keep me afloat until like, you know, either I get clients or I find another job. Um, so that was like a big part of it. And then what like it was one of those things like when I was basically like, all right, I'm giving my notice, I'm doing it, like we're going all in. And it just so happened that like the timing for whatever reason, like as I was transitioning out of Hasbro, I had like a bunch of client work lined up right away.
Mhm.
And it's been going pretty smoothly. I had a very slow month in August, which definitely was like frightened me. But also there was part of me, I spent basically the entire month of August in Vermont riding
Mm,
bikes.
Vermont,
So
you're home.
yeah, right.
That's awesome.
It's where I live.
Yeah, yeah, riding bikes. And I don't think you mentioned it so far in this recording, but mountain biking is also a big part
Yes,
of your life. Yeah.
it is
Hence, and
definitely.
Vermont has good mountain biking, and that's why
Oh yeah,
you live in Vermont.
yep.
Great,
That's
I
why
got
we're
it.
there. Yep.
And I grew up in New England, so Vermont has a special place in my heart. What's your favorite bike brand? Are you loyal to a
Oh
specific?
yes, uh, Juliana bicycles.
Oh, as a, I have ridden a bicycle or two in my day, but I'm not like a super bike like gearhead, so I'm not familiar with that brand. But
They're owned by Santa Cruz. I don't know if you've heard
oh,
of
okay,
them.
yeah, 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 cool. I wish I had more knowledge to ask you like more about your bike because I feel like there's something to talk about there. But let's just stay on topic for everybody who's now clicked away. I'm sorry. So when we're talking about what you do, you also when I think about working with you, I think, okay, if I have a really awesome type project, especially if it's animated or lettering, then I'm going to go to Erika Dillon. What brought you to kind of start to specialize in type?
I have always loved lettering and type. I like I think about back in the day when I first like my parents first got a computer and we had Word and we had all of the like different fonts. I mean, mind you, we're talking like Papyrus and Comic Sans
Oh,
and
the good
Peace
ones.
ITC. Yeah, the best ones. And I just remember being so obsessed with like using all of these different fonts. And then like I would use fonts for specific projects. Like if I wanted to get a certain feeling across, like I was already doing that like when I was younger. And then type has just always played a big part of my design work in general. And then probably about 5 or 6 years ago, I started hand lettering.
Hmm.
And so all along in the background, I've also been doing a lot of lettering. And then it's sort of as I got more and more into motion design, I started to play a little bit with like, okay, can I animate this piece that I created in Procreate and can I like do a frame by frame animation with it? And then now what I'm looking at is can I take my vectorized lettering and how do I animate that in After Effects?
Hmm.
So it kind of was like a natural progression to just sort of like go from, okay, here's the static image to how do we make this come to life and make it move?
Mm-hmm. And this is a great transition to the section where I'd love to look at some of your work.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, here we are on your site. So you worked. Can you tell us about this project?
Yeah, absolutely. So, if you aren't familiar with Chutzpah Design, they are this awesome design studio based in Southern California. I have followed their work for quite a while. Amy and Jen Hood, they are the sisters that run the design studio together. They're just like amazing, and the work they do is phenomenal. So, I had taken their freelance and business and stuff course, also have their book. It's a really great resource for freelancers. And I have I'm on their Slack channel, which is really cool. But like I had started to post more of my lettering animations, and they reached out to me and said, "Hey, we have a font that we're going to be releasing shortly. Would you do the animations for the launch?" And so I was like, "Absolutely! Like I totally want to do that." So they came to me with these three designs and basically like gave me like some style frames to say like this is how we want it to go, but like feel free to figure out how this all needs to work. And so they just sort of left it up to me to figure out like the best way to animate these things. And it was super fun. And like, I honestly want to do more of this stuff. for
Yeah, I was gonna
sure.
say this seems like a dream project for you.
Yeah, it
This is
really wasn't.
this is the sort of thing you want to do more
Yeah.
of. It's so cool. So you took a course from them, and then they ended up paying you to work for them.
Yes. Yep.
That's I like that. I like that. Um,
And it's all because like I stayed in contact, like, and I made it a point to like show up to that community and like post and set like, post on other people's projects and share my work. And they were like, "Whoa, we love what you're doing. Like, we want to work with you."
this is so cool. Can you tell? So I assume you did this in After Effects.
Yep.
How did you actually scale the type, or did you create? Do you remember how you, especially this Oasis one?
Yeah.
I'm trying to work out in my mind how I would do that, but how did you do it?
Okay. So essentially, I had outlines for everything, and then I just transformed the paths. So I animated the paths for all of the letters.
Because the weight
Yeah.
also scales down, and that
Shifts.
was the
Yes.
part that was really messing with me. So
Yep.
you animated the path from
Yep.
one weight to the other.
Yep.
Oh, very clever.
I mean, it was a lot of like going in and like adjusting anchor points and curves and making sure it lined up properly. And then I also had to do the same thing with like that drop shadow.
Oh yeah, this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh right, of course. Jeez, it turned
Yeah.
out. I mean, I hope they were happy because this turned
Oh,
out
they were
amazing.
psyched. Thank
Yeah,
you.
awesome. I'm gonna jump to your Instagram real quick here because
Yeah.
you've been posting a lot of really cool type stuff. That here's this one also was kind of like a mind bender because I know how to make these scale and change position, but did you have to animate these paths or did you
Yep.
find a so this probably
Yep.
took a long time.
It didn't take as long as I thought it would. Um, the magic, excuse me, the magic did take a lot longer because like trying to get those letters to look accurate and like well balanced letters when they are the thinner version,
Mm-hmm.
that took a little bit of like finagling.
So in animation boot camp, we learned all about like the principles of animation, and it's so cool to see then it applied like anticipation and
Mm-hmm.
overshoot, but then on type, yeah, this is really. I hope everybody watching this hires you if they need like a motion type lettering person. Cool. Well, thanks. I was about to say thanks for being here, but that's not what I wanted to say. Uh, well, I'm looking at my notes, and the next section is the lowlights and highlights section that I like to do. And so, if we could start with maybe a lowlight from your career, it doesn't have to be something big and tragic and serious. It can be if you want it to be, but maybe it could be like a mistake you made or a lesson you learned the hard way. And then we'll end on the highlights. But is there any part of your career that stands out as kind of a low light?
So, interestingly enough, before I took this freelance journey, I had actually tried to freelance, I think in 2008, 2009. So, like when everything crashed, basically, and like stuff was not good. So, I had a full time job that it wasn't design related at that point, but I was doing design on the side. And I was also working at the Apple store. And at that time, because I was like, oh, I have this full time job, like I don't really need to be working at the Apple store. So I quit Apple.
Oh,
And then it was fine because I was like, I'm still working full time. And then I decided that like I kind of hated the job that I was in. And so I was like, I'm just going to freelance. So I quit that job as well. My parents were horrified at this point. They're like, Erica, what are you doing? And I was like, no, I'm going to be a freelance designer. It's great. And then like for the next 3 months, I basically like ran out of money, had no clients. And then like the couple clients that I did have were terrible. Like they were
oh.
just bad clients. And I was like, what did I just do? And then I went and I worked as a freelancer for New Balance, which was awesome.
Cool.
But because I came in as a freelancer versus like a contractor or a temp worker, I didn't get paid for like, I think 2 months. And I was like,
Whoa.
driving to Boston every day. And I was like, so this is wonderful. And I know I'm going to get like an awesome paycheck and like once it hits. But I was like, I literally have no money. Like, what is happening? So that was definitely like maybe don't go off and do freelance on a whim because that's how I approached it the first time. Maybe think about it a little bit more.
I mean, yeah, that's the freelance life. You're working for next month's paycheck, really. But geez, I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of people out there can probably relate to that, where you know the paycheck's going to be good whenever it finally
Whenever it
shows
shows
up.
up, yeah. I was
um,
also pretty young then, so like I mean if you're gonna like make a not that it was a mistake, but like if you're gonna take a risk like that, probably do it like when you really have like no bills and nothing to worry about. So, you know.
yeah. That's I like that. Let's end on a highlight though. What's
Yeah.
in your career? What's been a standout highlight so far?
So far, I mean, I have to say like the Hutzpah gig was like whenever Amy reached out to me, she like emailed me and asked me about it. I was like, "Wait, what?" Like, huh? This design studio that I respect and admire and like basically in my eyes they're like rock stars, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "Wait, you're asking me? Me? Like you want me to do something for you? Like what is this? What is my life right now?" So that was kind of like that was super awesome.
Well, it's deserved. I mean, looking at your work, I'm not surprised that a top lettering company would be interested to work with you to set their type in motion. And I hope everybody watching this, if they need animated lettering, they also think of you because not only that, but because we've worked together on a project before, and I can verify that you're pleasant to work with, you're reliable because you do your work on time and you don't need to be babysat, and your work is high quality. And those are the three things that I at least look for when I'm considering working with somebody. So um, I guess that's just some unctuous praise
Thank you.
for Erika Dillon. And just to wrap it up one more time, where can people find your work online?
You can find it on my website, which is ericadillon.com, and on Instagram. And my Instagram handle is erica.dillon.
Cool. Well, thanks, Erika. This has been a lot of fun, and I appreciate you taking the time to be here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Okay, I'm going to hit stop recording.